Alright, so just a quick video. I picked this off the lawn. I live in an apartment complex, so I have to do that a lot. Now, I live in America, far northern California, and I see this all over America, and basically what will I call it? The modernized Western type world. Does it go on in other places? And then when I say modern westernized world, any big cities or towns that are bred in the same type of consciousness and stuff like that. So yeah, like in Mexico cities or Brazil or anywhere around the world. But in America, it's rampant, this kind of stuff. And just will just be a quick video. Now, of course, you can say, well, the parents have to be held accountable and watch over their kids and stuff. But we're in 2022, and the parents are doing the same. So what do you expect the kid to do, right? Let me just lower this a little bit here. So I thought it was looking out my balcony when I was ready to go down. I thought it was at Dr. Pepper. Now, I haven't drank soda in probably since 2007. So what is that, about 15 years? Maybe longer. And I rarely drank it. It hurt my stomach. I never really got into it, once in a while. Probably from around 95, 96. I'd say at least from 2000 or just before that. I'm trying to think when I was 26 years old. Around the time, I'm 50 now, so around the time I was like 26 years old, at dinner time or if I went out to dinner, I always had water. I always drank water, and I always drank probably an unsweetened iced tea. Once in a while, maybe regular iced tea or a lemonade. Very, very rare a soda. I just wasn't big on it. And like I said, it hurt my stomach. So now fast forward all these years, it's not Dr. Pepper, it's this thing. I never heard of it. But apparently it's been around since, let's see here. I want to make this video short. 1937, you can see that. Sweet and smooth and killing your body since 1937. Wait till you see this. I couldn't believe it. I had to look at it a couple times and thought, wow, we're supposed to be evolving, right? So we have a dollar store here. So this is $1. And obviously it's 20 ounces. Now, if I remember correctly, and I didn't look it up online, but I remember the average sugar content in a soda, a 20-ounce soda, was probably around 42 to 46 grams of sugar, which is a lot. It's a lot. That's nothing compared to this. So let's roll it over and see. Yeah, you're seeing that right. You're seeing that right. One bottle. Not like servings. Well, maybe it's an 8-ounce serving, and that's why. No. One bottle, 20 ounces, 72 grams of sugar, all added sugar, and 73 grams of carb. So we already know sugar weakens the immune system. We already know it makes you hyper. And we already know it affects your brain, just like coffee does. Now, since I mentioned coffee, almost wants to come in. I don't know why it does this, but it must be just the reflective there, because I always have to hold it the camera towards the middle of my chest and down like this for it to work. So as you can see, it has caffeine in it. So not only does it have tons of sugar, but it has caffeine in it. So your immune system, your jitters, your addiction, because it will make you addictive. Sugar is addictive. Caffeine is addictive. You'll deny it, but it is. It's got natural and artificial flavors, and it's got red 40 dye. Lots of the red dyes are banned in the European countries, meaning they're not allowed to be used in your food or for certain, like cosmetics or anything like that, or skincare. So good old America allows companies to produce this incredibly harmful drink for kids and adults. Like, I have conversations with people in my family, and it really doesn't get through to them or any other people, because they think anybody has a belief or a way that you're allowed to do it. Well, like I'll say to everybody else, I used to be like that to an extent, although not really. I fought the system of family and everything since I was a kid, because I felt like Superman dropped off onto this world, and it was bizarre and strange, and I didn't want to do a lot of the things that I was told to do or forced to do, and it was really aggravating. Then I had an awakening, and I understood why. And if you want to be a brotherhood and sisterhood of humanity and a species, you got to have a talk with yourself. You have to have an awakening with yourself, and you have to realize and the truth of who and what we are internally and externally beyond the physical body. And then you realize, like, well, if we're going to survive as a species and evolve mentally, emotionally, psychologically, biologically, and physically, then we all have to be on the same page and agree that whether it's this right here, which is absolutely disturbing to me when I see the contents, and who would have thought sugar back 25 years ago or whenever I said was like 42 grams of sugar, and this doesn't, it looks like regular soda. It doesn't say like we infuse this with more stuff. We have to all say, well, whatever is not good for our species, soda, processed food, eating animals, chemicals, dyes, cigarettes, smoke, booze, drugs, gambling, anything like that that's detrimental to us on any level, mental, physical, biological, psychological, emotional, spiritual, energetic, should not be produced. Now, of course, until mass consciousness raises, the other people have to be the ones to lead the way. So the governments have to say, no, you're not producing this. And the family members and the friends, hey, that's not good for you because of A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and H reasons, and so on. And that's what's got to take place. And yeah, from a little bottle of soda that shows so much damage, I can go into a whole bunch of different things. And that's how it has to be. The human race as a species, as an individual, has to uplift the rest of the people. And of course, they're going to say, well, I like my soda. I like this. Well, they don't like it until they have a heart attack or a disease, or they got to get a surgery, or they go in the hospital. Then it's pray for me, Jesus and God and everybody, I need your prayers. That could be not needed if that was thrown away and never produced. If that was never produced, and cigarettes were never produced, and drugs and gambling and chemicals and on and on and on, and all the waste material and all the environmental harm, that's how you grow as a species. Not through your own beliefs, not through your own, and then you say, well, that's your belief. Well, no, this is something that's evolved. It's a belief, it's a truth, it's a knowing that's evolved. We all know that this is no good for us. We all know that it's harmful for the environment, whether it's recyclable or not. Here in California, you can see this right here. It says, there it goes. So they charge you 10 cents. These people don't even care about that. They're so low in their awareness that they don't even care. They could buy 100 bottles of soda a month. That's 10 cents a bottle that they get charged. And you're supposed to take this back to the recycling center, and they give you your money back. It's made so you're aware to do that. They don't even recycle here in this community. It's not even a recycling thing. It's really bizarre. It's really bizarre. But that's another thing. So we know that this is not good for our health, our wellness, our environment. We know gambling. We know when you put booze, gambling, and other things together, that it could be incredibly harmful to a lot of people. So my point is, from this video, from this to everything I talked about, has to evolve and be expanded in consciousness. And if people don't have a spiritual experience like I did internally and externally, to beyond my body, my earthly world, and into other realms and stuff, and you don't have that instant knowing, instant love, instant understanding and want and desire to uplift everybody, then you have to listen to people like me, listen to officials or leaders or corporations that are doing the right thing. And this stuff cannot be produced. We're in 2022. Whether it's a religious system or a soda or a cigarette, we already know that it causes cancer and it kills and wrecks lives and families. Why then is it able to be produced? They raise cigarette prices. I've never smoked in my life. I think it's one of the most disgusting things I've ever seen. Why a person would do that, I don't know, and it smells horrible. I'll never forget the first time I kissed a girl and she had smoked. I never even knew she smoked, and I thought, ew, did you just smoke? That gum in your mouth didn't do anything for it. It was just disgusting. So that being said, raising the price of cigarettes to a low conscious person that's addicted to it energetically and chemically, they're not going to care. They'll pay the $7 that goes up to $11 and however much it is nowadays. It has to be outlawed. Things have to be outlawed and replaced with something better, is my point. That's how you work as a species, not a belief. It's like, call it the truth of evolution. If we're going to be a better species, a better individual, that's how it has to work. And this spiritual type of scientific spiritual knowledge has to replace dogmatic religions around the world. Even the so-called Eastern ones that have some truth and spirit science in them, they still have a dogmatism to it. They worship idols and they put, bowls down and they light incense and all this strange stuff that you don't have to. Your body is literally the temple. You are an aspect and spark of God within, and you got to treat your body as such. The spiritual sun, the spiritual light within. All right? Everything has to be replaced in order to evolve. Not just technology, but our awareness, our mentality, our energy, our consciousness, and our awareness. All right? So, again, from a little bottle of soda to all that, that's just basically an evolution. It starts down here at the bottom with soda and cigarettes and drugs and gambling and eating animals and chemicals in your food and dogmatic spiritual systems and religions and all that. Totally outdated, totally useless. It had its place once, but it seemed to do way more harm than good on every level, whether it's the dogmatic religion or this kind of soda. This is soda evolved to 72 grams of sugar instead of doing away with it. You know what I mean? And there are companies, don't get me wrong. There's natural soda companies, natural iced tea companies, and they don't use sugar at all. They use a sweetener or a fruit or something that's a lot better. So there are that, but we're talking about the mass populations here. All right? So I wanted to share that with you. And again, I found it on my lawn. So they don't even have on the lawn, they don't even have the awareness to pick it up and throw it away, or better yet, recycle it, because you get your 10 cents back. And of course, there's a lot of kids here, so if there's a family of 5, that's a lot of bottles and a lot of money, $5-10 maybe in a month's time that they took from you that you didn't get back because you didn't recycle it. Well, that's their fault. No, not really. It's not their fault. What they need is education. What they need is better food. What they need is the opportunity. And if you're producing this kind of crap food or chemicals or sugar or caffeine, on and on and on, or dogmatic belief systems of governments and parties and religions, then no, it's not their fault. It's the people who know better that shouldn't allow these things. That's where it starts. Yes, it starts in the individual, but if the individual can't get that understanding because of the addiction, because of the mental cloudiness and everything else, well, it's up to the people. I'm going to start a company and make the most sugar soda ever. Why? Why would you want to do something like that? I'm going to make an atomic bomb so we can blow up somebody. Why? Why would you want to do that? Because you're not aware spiritually in a heart-centered consciousness based off of a loving intelligence. That's it. That is as simple as it gets. Should I go into explaining what God really is and how it steps down the energy from the metaphysical Big Bang of the highest consciousness and energy, where our soul essence, our light, comes from, and steps down through physical and non-physical realities into planes of existence right into our human bodies. And the more we evolve, the more we better ourselves, the more that God sees, the light sees within, our soul sees that we want to better ourselves, become more aware, more conscious, more evolved, then that light will shine brighter. That consciousness will blossom, and we become that. And then we're supposed to spread it and share it with others. How it works really briefly, the Big Bang was a physical and a non-physical metaphysical type experience where a vibration, a thought exploded its consciousness, its awareness, its intelligence into a non-physical and physical reality. They're actually one and the same and parallel one another, but they're supposed to be infused and embodied and becoming aware of that and connected. Just like this phone right here real quickly. So my phone needs to be plugged in. So, the power source is God. You plug the phone in and, it's still one. You connect it to charge and it's continuing. Now the phone needs to become aware of that connection, aware of where that power source comes from. Okay? So the best way to do this real quickly here, if anybody's interested, is that think of a nuclear generating power plant on Earth. Let's just say there's one, even though there's many in different countries. Let's say there's one, and that power plant actually is the Earth itself. And it has, as God, it has the most powerful energy and consciousness. But it can't fit in a human body or even in other structures that are larger. So it produces galaxies and solar systems and suns. And everything has a metaphysical and energy let's call it twin to it, and that energy has to be stepped down. So that energy, like a power plant would be so much energy, it goes out into the high tension wires and into substations. And the substations are those things right outside the power plant that look like a ton of wires and metal towers and all that kind of stuff, which steps down the energy and recirculates it to other wires, which go into the neighborhoods with transducers that step down the energy even more. And then finally, you have fuse boxes in your houses, and it distributes lower and lower amounts of energy into the wires of your home. You have 10-watt light bulbs, 75-watt light bulbs, 60-watt light bulbs. You have appliances that are higher wattage, take more power. That's just different sparks and extensions of the Creator in different beings and different, let's call it materialization, like the sun and the stars. Now, if you're a human, you're a 10-watt, a 60-watt, a 75, and a 100-watt light bulb. You got to become aware, and you grow, and you embody more and more of that light, that intelligence, that awareness, that love, that ability to want to help others naturally, and the let going of the infusion of your mind, body, and soul, and emotions, and everything that you are into the light, where that light allows you to speak, think, and feel calm, beautiful, and past the egoic or lower emotional trauma and conditioning. All right, so that's how it would work in the most simplest form. The power plant is God. God steps its energy, consciousness, and intelligence down through everything. And now you're supposed to awaken to do that. Now, how did I awaken? Well, as a kid, I was awakened, and I got put to sleep basically on the family that I lived with and their ways of doing things. I didn't want to do them, but I was a child, so I had to do them. Then I was just conditioned, and I skipped through life, awake, sleep, trying to battle systems that I thought were not right, not true. The political systems, the voting, and all that ridiculousness. Then I had my awakening, and I know it's due to I faced myself, I healed myself, I went to therapy. Everything happened at once: car accident, divorce, loss of house. Then my dog died. I had to move back in with my parents. All this nonsense, and I went to therapy, and I wanted to find out what was wrong with me and what was going on with the people around me. Turned out it went all the way back to childhood. It went about my family doesn't have like a normal family like everybody. Like, we don't have a big family technically, or they died off a long time ago, or nobody knows each other, or stuff like that. So basically, I didn't know much of grandparents or grandmas or grandpas. I had one, I barely knew her. The other ones died before I was old enough to remember, stuff like that. So it went all the way back to that, and deeper things too. And once I realized that and accepted that and my own faults and everything, and I kept digging deeper, before I awakened, I realized I backed away from like girlfriends and dating, and I backed away from nonsense TV and sports, and I was really interested all of a sudden in the ancient world and how the pyramids got built and the truth about ancient texts and the Bibles and stuff like that, because I saw through them as a kid. It just never made sense to me. It just seemed like control mechanisms and fantasies that were like probably true, but coded somehow. It just didn't seem right. And then there was the fear and the guilt that they made me go. I was in the Catholic Christian stuff that I had to go to, and that was like scary and fearful. Everything from the day I entered it, whether it was a statue of him hanging dead, all bloody and stuff like that, it just was like creepy that a human being would want to like worship something like that. It's just really, really strange. And as a kid, I thought, very strange, very scary. Why do they wear weird clothes and carry all these crosses? You name it. So that's what set me forth, the healing, the therapy. I paid about $5,200. Matter of fact, I could tell you, I paid $5,170 of my own money to get better. And it took 2 years in therapy, like once to twice a month. Sometimes I went weekly. And then I backed away from everything, and I went into higher conscious things. I didn't know it at the time. And as I studied and I loved aligning to that kind of life, wham, I had my internal / otherworldly experiences. And that's why I can share with you here today the importance of something as simple as this. Whether it's the ingredients, what it does to your body mentally, physically, psychologically, emotionally, addictive, recycling, that should, like, they even make it easy for you. We'll take 10 cents from you. Since we know you're not aware enough, we're going to charge you money in hopes that it makes you aware enough to go and recycle it. All right? Well, that's good. That's good for the California that did that. But there needs to be more. Like, don't produce stuff like this. So that's how I know these things. That's how I can explain what I feel God and the consciousness is. Now, like I said, everything steps down energy. So you might have an experience and think you met God or a spiritual light or something, and you probably did. And it was probably one version of however evolved your soul is, or whatever you've been involved in life, that you met a certain level. But you'll know when you meet a higher level internally and externally of the absolute creational source that started it all and sent it down throughout all space and time and inside our core center, our spiritual sun inside us. We have an SUN within us, a literal SUN. So if you want to ever pay homage to anything outside yourself for gratitude, thankfulness, and appreciation, for being aware, for being a human being, then look to this no further than the sun in the sky, because as it gives you physical, biological, mental, and emotional health and plants and everything, there's also a spiritual sun. And it's an energy of consciousness, loving intelligence, and light of awareness. That's what you should do. So when you see anything in the ancient world that shows the sun, I'll say something about Akhenaten. So Akhenaten saw the sun and the spiritual sun with the rays of its hands handing out the Ankh. Now you can make a whole bunch of different interpretations, but I'm going to tell you what it meant to me. Did Akhenaten know it 100%? Maybe, maybe not, but he knew enough to show the sun as a spiritual sun, not just a physical sun, with the rays having hands on it, handing out the Ankh. Now, the Ankh represents to some the key of life, immortality, a spiritual essence, all good, because that's exactly what you are inside. So if you want to give thanks and praise internally and externally, no more than the sun and the earth below our feet for that beautiful light and awareness that you are. But you just know that everything's connected and flows back to the original source. All right? So that's just basically how I can put it. So, I always think, man, I made another 25-minute video. But you know what? There might be one person out of however many or however few watch my video and say, wow, that really felt good. That really felt truthful. Nothing fancy. No, weirdo new age stuff. No dogmatic stuff. Absolute truth. And you see how that truth went from litter on my lawn to, wow, that's what these kids and adults are drinking. And that's the stuff that's in this. Oh, wow, and recycling. You see how that led and connected all the way back to the source of everything? You see that? My phone is us, right? It's plugged in to the power. It has to become aware of who and what we are. Why? Because then we become a better, more evolved species and individual that says, no, I'm not drinking this and supporting this. No, we're not even producing this, says us, says the company, says the government. Nobody would even want to produce this at my level of consciousness. And when I say my level of consciousness, I mean what I'm experiencing and what I've awakened to. I'm not better than anybody. If I was, I would say, ha, I know this. I'm not helping anybody. No, I'm expanding and I'm doing what anybody would do when they awaken to make the place a better world. And if this is all I can do for now, then this is what I can do. But you see how it's all connected? A lot of people argue with me and say, but this, but that, but this, but that. No. When you experience it, you'll know it. A belief is just a belief to the level of your awareness or however you're bound your awareness is. But you can take this little bottle and go all the way back. You can go to the fish and the birds in the ocean that choke on a cap and a seal that gets this, or a turtle that gets this caught around its shell and stuff like that. There's a lot of different ways that this truth can go to. How many do you see? How many do you know exist from drinking just this bottle and by not recycling it? You see? All right, I love yous all. If this touches anybody's mind and heart and makes them better, then God bless yous all, because what you are is truly God within. You are really an SUN within. You are a spiritual essence of your soul and the light. You're an awareness, a consciousness, and a loving intelligence. But you have to heal. You have to face yourself. You have to understand and want to seek to build that connection. The connection that says, I will never drink and eat this, or animals, or chemicals, or anything like that. All right? And then when enough individuals become that, then boom, we don't produce it, and we have a paradise on this gorgeous earth again. All right? Lots of love to you. Bye-bye.